Good afternoon. My name is Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com. Welcome to today's recap and look ahead. Came in this morning. Futures are up. We talked about, what type of additional gains we could have, where we might be able to go. Resistance 1 or resistance 2, either the 8-day, the 21-day. Can we get above yesterday's high and stay above it as our inflection point? And basically, the market had a good push up until about 10:30. Tweeted out there saying, we just hit and got rejected at the 8-day. If you were long from yesterday's, gut call of 187 to 188 in the spiders, time to take it off. And then we'll see if we actually hold yesterday's high to see if we create a topping tail to make an ugly bearish pattern, or do we maybe see higher prices. You look here at the chart and you will see, this is basically, the spot. Here was your low on Monday, your low on Tuesday. We pushed above, the prior high, which I put on many times, 1868. I'll put up the spiders in a second. Hit the 8-day, right into prior support that definitely turns into resistance, or usually does the first time you get there, and closed on our lows. So that's another topping tail, a lower high in a series of lower highs. So we'll see if we get some kind of downside follow through tomorrow, or not. The Qs tried to hold up a little bit better until the end of the day, but they also came into, it didn't actually quite get to prior resistance to make support, but what did it do? Went to the 8-day and failed. Pushed through a prior high, came back below. So this could have been your buy price, your sell price, or maybe your get flat, get short, and then you could have made some money and then figured out what you want to do next. So lots of ways to tactically come at this market, even when things are broken. A lot of the high beta names all had a one-day bounce, some two, and we talked about where they could stall, and a lot of them stalled. You go into Facebook, which gave guys a decent trade, and what did it do? It stalled into all the moving averages curling down. So it gave you a quick short squeeze push, which if you were watching on the VTF, I actually played also at like 102. Didn't give you a blockbuster move, but then pushed up and failed into moving averages before coming down. Here was your topping tail to get out of the stock after your big earnings run, and then here's when it broke your earnings gap. So this could have been your rally back up, but we shall see. Amazon, after the close, announced a $5 billion buyback. It's at 500 this, after hours. I think people would have got very excited if it was also a split. Maybe it'll help the name. I don't think it's ever had a buyback, so it didn't quite get to the 8-day. We'll see if it can get there tomorrow. It also pushed above prior high, closed below it. I think after hours it's trading around 500. If the market's up tomorrow, can it see 516? Maybe, but I wouldn't just chase it because of the buyback. People are kind of getting sick of hearing about the buybacks. CSCO seemed to have had a pretty solid quarter. Also, they announced a buyback or an extended one, a dividend. It's closed on the dead lows, so maybe it gets a little bit of a pop. So let's take a quick look here at CSCO. CSCO, to me, the chart, obviously, like most charts, has been very broken. Here's when it lost a 200-day. That was your get out of the stock. Here's when it broke this ascending channel. Here's when it broke this bear flag. So it closed on the dead lows. So I guess there's some people who were expecting a poor report or a negative report for lower prices. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll see if it could, get back to this spot and help the market in the morning. I guess we could listen to the conference call also to see if he mimics Steve Jobs by saying that the atmosphere out there is pretty tough. But we'll see. But again, break, bear flag. Here's crazy support. It closed on it, and we'll see. Some guys were clamoring on how IBM also looks like death. It's been below the 200-day for so long, not investment quality, not even trading quality, and then turned back lower. I guess we'll see what happens tomorrow as it broke this ascending channel. So when you have rallies off the lows, you typically want to follow this ascending channel. When it breaks, you get out of the way, because every time it happens, that's the case. You don't know how far they're going to go until they break. Let's see what happened if this was actually a bear flag before breaking. This one gapped down. I guess must have had earnings there or something. But anyway, below the 200-day, not something you need to keep in your portfolio whatsoever, unless you're Warren Buffett and you got billions and billions of dollars. Twitter, I'm not sure if it's out yet. Let me take a quick look at Twitter, see what's going on here real quick, and then I'm gonna have to get going here. Is Twitter out? Twitter. Tesla lost 80 cents per share versus expected earnings of 10. So we'll see what happens with Tesla. Go to Twitter right now, and it is up 3 cents after hours. Now it's down 18 cents. So it's it's trading all around, not doing much. Let's see what Tesla is doing. Tesla up $2 after hours. So maybe it's priced in not much. It was down 4 today, so now it's up $1. I don't know. Not too impressive. All these names are very, very broken. So, but as far as they are broken, they're very oversold. So hard to be short these things into numbers. Maybe you have some kind of put spread on them or call spread on them, or you're just trading other things outside the market based on how the market reacts. If it's a bad report and it doesn't go down, it means it's oversold and it probably bounces. If it's a bad report and it still goes down, maybe it wasn't priced in as much. So those are the things you keep in there. Deutsche Bank rallied with Europe and came a little off the highs, and our banks really didn't respond so well. J.P. Morgan was rallied up a little bit and then failed. Okay, closed almost red. So see how this gets handled tomorrow. Goldman Sachs also open. All these things are doing the same kind of thing where they're going into the 8-day and failing. This went into the 8-day and failed. So we'll see if they make new lows. When they make new lows, people are gonna obsess again. One thing that I guess was sort of constructive until the end of the day is you had the USO closed near the lows of the year. Tried to avoid it. The market tried not to care, but it did at the end of the day. Here's your ascending channel before it broke. Go to the spider chart one more time before I leave you, and here is your topping tail, like I explained in the SPX. This was into the 8-day. Here was your pivot, filled the gap, reversed down. If you want to look at the 5-minute or the hourly, I posted it about an hour ago. I said, watch this wedge. If it breaks, jump on it, etc., etc. There was a big break or let's see, where are you? Oops. Let's go to the 5-minute maybe. So that's not the 5 minutes, the daily. One more second here. All right, so here was your wedge. Here's when it hit the top, and it wasn't I guess that pronounced, but 187 was the inflection point, came below it, and then once it went below this 187 and broke the 230 low, gave you another $1 or so to the lows here. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, depending on how we open. So in closing, the spiders were as low as 182 this week, and they got as high as 188. That's a $6 bounce. These bounces typically have been better to be sell than to buy. You never know how much further a bounce can go. That's why we measure action. That's why we wanted to measure where the 8-day was, know where yesterday's high was, because when you get to a pivot point like yesterday's high, if people are short, they don't know if we're going to go to 190 or 192, so they cover at 186.94. But then once they cover through and the buying dries up, then you figure out if it was a cover failure, and if people chased long, and then all of a sudden we're back below that level, that's what creates that topping tail. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Hopefully you made some money. Still a lot of week ahead of us, and I'll speak to you soon. Have a good night.